Hello everyone, my name is Dhananjay Manne. I am part of Informatica GCS team. In this presentation, we will be going through the steps how to create Hadoop files v2 connection in CDI. Moving on, today's agenda is explaining the documentation steps demo. Let's go through the documentation steps one by one. First, we need to make sure that we have to use Hadoop file system v2 connector on Linux 64-bit operating system. And we need to make sure that the required ports are open between the data node, name node, KMS, and other services between the info agent and the cluster. Next step is access Kerberos enabled Hadoop cluster. We need to make the entry of the KDC in etc host file, and we need to copy the krb.conf file to the below location in the secure agent machine. If the cluster is SSL enabled, then you need to import the certificates in this location. Let me show you the steps from the server. Uh, Let me show my krb.conf file, which I have copied into the etc. Here you can see this is the KDC which I have used. I have added it in the host file. Here you can see I have added the KDC entry, and I have copied the krb.conf file to the below location on the secure agent machine. Let me show you that. Apps JDK Zulu latest version. The latest version is 3.4.5. Inside that, lib security. Inside that, we need to go to JRE lib security. JRE lib security. Here I have placed the krb.conf file. Next, for accessing non-Hadoop cluster, we need to have the configuration files to be copied from the etc Hadoop conf. This is my cluster, and in the etc Hadoop conf, I have the core site, HDFS, map, bread, and onsite.xml that I have copied into my secure agent in a conf folder I have created. Here I have the configuration files. Next, the supported Hadoop versions are these, and I am using CDP 7.1 private cloud. Next, moving on the connection properties. First, we need to mention connection name. Description is optional. Type you need to select as Hadoop file system v2, and you need to select the runtime agent and username to read the files from HDFS. Name node URI. Name node URI, you can get it from the default FS value present in the core site.xml. And local path, like local path has to be NA if you want to use HDFS, or if you want to use secure agent path, then you can specify the local path of the secure agent. And configuration file path will contain the required site XMLs to connect to the Hadoop. Then we have the key-tab file. We need to pass the key-tab file location for Kerberos and the principal name and impersonation username if the users are different. Like note, as mentioned in the documentation, if you want to use HDFS files, then you need to specify name node and configuration files. These fields are mandatory. And Also, if you specify both name node URI as well as the local file path, then the preference will be taken to the local file path as mentioned in the documentation. If you specify the name node URI and local file path takes the preference. So make sure if you want to use HDFS, make sure the name node URI has to be set to NA. Let me go through the ICS console. Here I have created one connection. I have selected the type as Hadoop file system v2 on the runtime environment. I have selected username to access HDFS files and the name node URI. I have get it from the core site.xml. From the core site.xml, you can get here. I have taken the value and on the configuration file path. Here my configuration files are present. This is the configuration file path and the key tab is present in this location. This is my key tab and this is the location that I have mentioned and this is my principal name. If I perform test connection, the test connection is successful. And this is a sample for a local path. Local path in the secure agent. Like if you want to access the files present in your secure agent, then you can specify the local path and the test condition is successful. This is the document which I have referred in the presentation. We would like to hear from you on our social media handles. Please give your valuable feedback over there. Thank you all.